Hey, what's up, guys? Jake here with another episode of On the Rise Music Podcast. Today, we are honored to have special guest, producer, DJ, and rapper, Drinkurwater,
What
also
up,
known
guys?
as Kevin Flum. How's it going, man? Huge fan of
Good,
yours.
man. How's everyone doing, man? Thanks for having me on, bro.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're happy to have you on. I mean, you've had a fairly illustrious career as for as long as you've been doing music. So just to hop right into it, what was really because I know you started off making rap music. So
Yeah.
what like was that what really fascinated you like from the beginning growing up, or were you also listening to EDM as well?
Being born and raised in Europe, like dance music was always predominantly what I was hearing growing up.
Mhm.
So I always liked it, but we knew at some point we were moving to the States because my dad was in the military.
Oh, okay.
So I started getting really accustomed to like hip hop and stuff. And the first thing I really ever listened to was like 50 Cent's "Get Rich or Die Trying"
Mm.
album. So that really made me. And dude, I was like maybe 10, not even 10 years old when I heard that. So I was like a little kid listening to that, and it just really fascinated me, man. And then it kind of really got me into rap, and I just started listening to that and Eminem and just all those rappers that were kind of popping in that
Mhm.
kind of time frame. So yeah, man. And then 8 Mile came out, and then that was the movie where I was like, okay, yeah, I'm trying to rap. Like I want to rap. I want to be this guy. So yeah, man, I kind of just got really inspired by just like the pop culture at the time that was going on in America. So I just like that's really what got me into it. And by the time I was 14, I was just like writing my own songs and making beats and just doing stuff
Mm.
like that. So that's how I kind of got like myself into the hip hop world. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
man.
like it only makes sense that those were like the big artists that you really got into, and but that's kind of interesting too that those weren't artists from Atlanta, because I know Atlanta is the hotbed for just
Yeah.
hip hop and just like they have their own, it's like their its own movement, trap movement and everything. So that's just that's kind of funny. And you didn't even well I don't know, I'm kind of assuming, but you mentioned 50 Cent and Eminem were like Lil Wayne and Birdman, some of those artists too that you're listening to, or was it mainly just 50 Cent and Eminem?
When I lived in Germany, I hadn't like actually because I moved to the States when I was actually 14. So that's like when
Oh,
I
okay.
started actually making the music. But I didn't really get into like Lil Wayne and all of them until after I had moved to the States, because that's when I really dove in and started listening to other things. But like I really was just like selectively listening to 50 Cent and Eminem. And once Chris Brown started popping off, like with his R&B and his pop stuff, that was really cool. But when I was that age, my parents didn't really want me listening to the crazy vulgar stuff. So I had to
Yeah,
like
of
listen to it
course.
all on the low. Like I had to like secretly listen to it on the computer. Like my parents would like have to check the lyrics before I listened to songs and shit.
I get it.
So yeah, it was that's kind of how that worked. But then after I kind of like grew out of that, I started listening to everything. I would say Lil Wayne was a huge influence. And then
Mhm.
once Drake started making music, Drake was like my number one like
Oh, for
dude who I
sure.
listened to and I loved. So yeah, man, I would say I grabbed inspiration from just about everyone that was popping in that time.
Mhm.
So yeah, man, I just fell in love with hip hop in general. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, dude.
even the music you're coming out with caught the attention of Speaker Knockers. Rest in peace
Yeah,
is
rest in peace, man.
rest his soul. I mean, he's a huge underground influence on the on just the hip hop game in general. A lot of people shout him out. A lot of people are still remixing his songs. Huge
Yep,
talent, just gone way too soon. Like seriously, rest in peace. Like
facts.
that's oh man.
Yeah,
And I
man.
mean, I'm still listening to his music, and I just got into him like a couple months ago. Like my roommate, or not my roommate, but my friend put me on. So like just speaking on him, how did that relationship come about?
All right, so I actually personally never met him in person. I was always just a fan of him, and it was a little bit after he had passed away. My "You Mad Bro" song was already out and kind of gaining
Mm,
some crazy attention, and I guess his manager slash dad at the time was like looking for other underground South Carolina, because I was living in South Carolina at the
oh,
time.
okay.
So that's kind of how that happened. So I guess his dad slash manager was looking for other South Carolina artists that kind of had a buzz. And
Mhm.
he was like, yo, I would love to feature you on the album to kind of like help you out and help us out, because the song was doing pretty well at the time.
Yeah.
So that all happened and kind of just did it as like a tribute to him. I like re-recorded the intro saying "Rest in Peace, Speaker Knockers."
Yeah.
So I didn't like people usually get confused because they think he's actually on the song. He isn't on the song. That song was already out before he had passed away, but we
Mhm.
just kind of made a tribute version for his late album after he had passed. So that's kind of how that all happened. I never got to meet the guy, but he went to one of my rival high schools, and everyone always talked
Oh
about him
shit.
pulling up. He was always pulling up in crazy whips. Like he was 16, 17 years old, pulling up to school in like the
Oh
new
no.
Challengers and the new Camaros. Like, dude, so listening to his beats, he was producing for Future. Like he was all these
Mhm.
people, and I had already known about him. So when that opportunity came up, I was like, dude, this is crazy. But it sucked that he had already passed away. I could never tell him like how much he actually influenced like a lot of people that I listen to and like myself, because like Speaker Knockers invented that whole auto tune rap wave in
Yeah,
that time.
definitely.
In my opinion, you can't convince me anyone else did.
No.
Like,
No, I
like that
agree.
whole the auto tune melodic like fun flows. Like man, that was all Speaker Knockers, and like a lot of people agree with that. So
Mhm.
I think it's a pretty valid statement. So yeah, man, rest in peace, Speaker Knockers for sure.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah, rest in peace. I mean, hey, now you could even go on and I mean, now you're doing EDM and electronic music, but I mean, hey, you have that on your belt. You're like, yo, Sneaker Knocker's dad reached out and was like, hey, he saw me popping and was like, yo, we can both mutually benefit from this.
Yep.
And that's kind of sick too. And honestly, that's how I like the whole EDM like albums and label deals and signings and everything. That's what I love about it. It's like, yo, we're just here to promote each other
Right.
and I'm sure
Exactly.
you know exactly what I'm talking about because you've released a few things and you've even released under Excision his collab album.
Yeah. Yeah. The Subsidia one.
Yeah, so just moving into more like EDM and everything. Were you was that like the primary source of music you were listening to growing up or because you're a military kid so you were moving around constantly.
Yep.
Was it all German influence like music and everything or did you have a little bit of American influence as well?
As far as dance music, I was really only familiar with like European artists. Like there's a guy named Scooter who was making like nothing but like hardcore, like happy trance type music
Okay.
and like big room house type stuff. So I kind of like grew up on that, and I didn't really think about it much more than just like fun, like dance music more than anything. So I wasn't really educated enough to know who was who and what was making what. I just liked listening to the music. And
No,
then
of course.
once I really got into it, Showtech actually was like one of my biggest ones, like their hardstyle stuff. When I was like 12, 13 years old, I was bumping their stuff. And I don't know, man. And I think they're from like Holland or from the Netherlands or something. So it was all really European artists that I was listening to on the dance side growing up. And yeah, just it was always like trancy, happy because like bass music wasn't really a thing at that point,
Hmm.
like crazy dubstep, as
Yeah.
far as I know of. But yeah, man, it was all like house and trance type vibes that I was brought up on.
Yeah, that's I mean
So
it's kind of funny because you're talking about like trance and house and real like airy vibes. And then
yep,
you say that you also listen to 50 Cent and Eminem.
yep.
And it's interesting because also listening to your music, it sounds very aggressive. So it's almost as if there is no like house trance like just flowy vibes. Is that something done intentionally or are you just like this is just hard and I just love it?
Yeah, dude. I once I like really got into the whole EDM scene. I think it was like 2014. I went to my first festival. I was super super into like big room house and like the main stage, like everybody fucking jump, just like shit like that. But then what was it? I think I saw Skrillex for the first time, and that
Oh, okay.
changed everything, bro. Like it literally took a 180. I was like, wow, bass music, this is it. Like this is what I want. Like this is what I want to hear, what I like to do. And yeah, dude, it was after that, it was Crisley, Skrillex, Brills, like all those dudes back in that time. Like, man, that that is what changed everything. And that's what I really enjoyed listening to. And then I
Mhm.
really wanted to start making. So I just started studying all of that. Don't get me wrong, I still like the house stuff. I still like all
Yeah,
the
of
trancy
course.
vibes, but as far as what I wanted to do for myself, it was always like bass music oriented, like
Yeah, the harder
heavy,
hitting.
aggressive. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. There's just something about it. And I know it hits people not the same way it hits me, but like there's just a certain feeling I get when there's something just dirty, like filthy bass has always been my favorite. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, I wanted to make it myself. So that's why I went that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, like filthy bass is it's like you can't. I don't know. Well, I mean, when I was listening to your music, I was just doing homework and stuff, just writing stuff down. All of a sudden, I just found myself just like headbanging, like not
Oh
hard,
no
but
way.
enough where it was like on point with how you would headbang at like a rave or something. And I was just like, damn, yeah, this is good. This is catchy. So I totally understand. It's just it's infectious. It's
Yeah,
It's
man.
energizing, and even when you're doing nothing, you're still like, you got me going
It's
headbanging. So
easy.
I
Yeah,
totally
man.
understand. And that's like a huge difference from just the music you were producing before, the music that you were making before, like in terms of hip hop. Did you find it difficult transitioning from hip hop and like rap production to EDM production?
I would say yes, because I was mainly just doing rap stuff, but then at one point I just was DJing little like EDM events here and there in South Carolina, like as Kevin Flum, and lots
Mm.
of people were getting confused. They're like, "Yo, like, so are you a rapper or are you a DJ?" And I was like, "Yeah, I love both equally, so I want to do both." And I really didn't have an idea of what to do to split those two down the middle, and yeah, and I hadn't like really produced any EDM at that point, so I really had nothing under my belt besides the rap stuff. And then I got a feature with Say My Name on Get on My Level
Okay.
as a rap on the rap verse, and that song went absolutely crazy. Like that was one of the anthems of, I think it was 2016 or 17 when that song came out, but that was like one of the most played songs like of the year. And from that, I kind of got looped in with his management. He picked me up, and he wanted to, manage me as a rapper, but he was bringing me to all these huge festivals like EDC and just everything, bro. And I was just falling more and more in love with bass
Yeah, of
music and
course.
EDM. But the main focus, he's like, no, you're a rapper. Like, we got to do this rap stuff. You got to focus on that. And then we'll do EDM stuff later. But I was being introduced to like literally anyone you could name in EDM, like idols, like big
Mhm.
dudes. Like I was being introduced to all of them as a rapper, and it only made me want to do EDM way more. So, because I didn't want to just be like an EDM rapper, I didn't want to only do EDM features and stuff
Yeah, of
because my
course.
style is completely different from that. So,
Mhm.
that's kind of how that got looped in. And then at one point, I was just like, man, I got to make a side project. And then that's like how the whole Drink Your Water thing came about, because it's a whole completely different personality and like just a different alias to do that under, so people don't get confused. Because like a lot of my rap fans don't know what EDM is or don't even like it.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, definitely. Like I'm not saying they're like closed minded, but like if you haven't been around it, then you're not gonna really
Yeah,
know
it
much
doesn't
or
make any
appreciate it.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
of
like
course.
they're just like, "Oh, what is all these computer sounds?" Like, it's just like shit like that. Like, so yeah, man, it was that was a struggle. That took like 3.5 years to kind of figure out what I wanted to do with that.
Mhm.
So um
Hey, I mean,
yeah,
you were thrown right in the middle of it too. I mean, you like you said, you were seeing the best of the best, like
dude, yeah,
idols of idols of idols, and it was just like, yo, you, obviously that of course that would inspire somebody. Like you're seeing it being produced and being played at such a high level that
yep,
it's like inspiring. And I've like many of the producers have said the same exact thing. They're like, yo, being around people that are really good at it inspired me to want to do this, to want to create. So that's really interesting that like just immersing yourself in the world. Like I mean, I'm not saying you didn't know anything, but you, a lot of the stuff you, like you said, you just listened to what you liked. It wasn't
mhm,
really anything that you studied or not even studied, just really understood. Like you were old enough to really understand. So in a way,
exactly,
you kind of went in with like a very minimal background and just were immersed in it and picked up everything.
yep.
And now because of that, did you ever like were you ever mentored by like a producer, or did anyone ever like show you how to make songs in like an electronic way?
Yeah, actually, one of my good friends, he goes by Sunday Service. He's been like a big help for, I would say, the last 4 or 5 years. He kind of like helped me because he's the only other person that I knew that produced on Logic Pro, and that's what I've always
Okay.
used, Logic, for even my rap stuff.
Hmm.
So becoming friends with him was really tight because I was a fan of him before we were friends, and he lived in Atlanta. So it just made sense. Once I moved to Atlanta, we kind of like started hanging out more, and we became
Yeah, of
became
course.
really good friends. And I credit him for, he taught me everything I know, like on Logic and to produce stuff. As far as like bigger people mentoring me, I just more so took advice from them. More so them saying like, "Yo, you need to do this and that instead of focusing on DJing. You got to get a catalog of songs up, like
Mhm.
all this kind of stuff." So as far as like actual like clinical production, I owe it all to my boy Taylor from Sunday Service. He taught me everything I know. So yeah, man, that's the one and only person that I really have to credit on that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, hey, it's always great when like a friend of yours just helps you out, and especially, I mean, it is pretty difficult because I know a lot of producers that or that have mentioned that they use Fruity Loops or they just use like a bunch of different production or APs or I'm sorry,
Ableton. Everyone's
yeah,
on Ableton.
Ableton too.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, it's difficult, and you want to burst into something, but you don't really realize it. And for somebody to be like, hey, here's an opportunity. Let me just help you out as a friend. I mean, hey, look where you're at now, and I'm pretty sure you guys are helping each other still. Like you're pushing each other. You're constantly
Yep.
push like knowing where you guys can be, and you're working together, and you're yeah, you're gonna be successful together. So yeah,
Yep.
that's hey, homies are the homies for the reason, you know.
That's what I'm talking. Yeah, dude. And it was easier to learn because he wasn't a stranger. So I was
Totally.
comfortable. I was comfortable with him. So
Yeah, you can
yeah, like
ask the
even when
questions like
easy.
that seem just very simple, have very simple answers. You don't feel nervous to be like, hey, I don't want to look like an idiot, but what does this do, or why am I doing this? You know?
Exactly. Literally, you're nailing it on the head, bro. Like most people would be afraid to like ask people certain questions because they don't want them to be like, "Oh, really? You didn't know that?" Like the
Yeah.
simplest little things. So yeah, it's easy. It was way easier with it being a friend of mine. So definitely wouldn't trade that for anything, bro. Like at all.
Oh, I
So
I agree. Now moving more into like performance and everything. And you've been touring a little bit prior to COVID. Did
mhm.
you notice any sort of like impact on you once COVID started? Because I know we've talked to different artists and different producers who've told me like, hey, we had such a great time, we had so much following, and all of a sudden COVID happened, and we just kind of deteriorated like mentally. We lost motivation, we lost we just kind of got depressed a little bit because it's like, hey, we're not getting that gratification. Did you happen to feel any of that, or any like withdrawal, or any side effects from being in COVID, or did you just take it on and just create?
Um, so I got definitely got some like side effects from because I was playing shows pretty regularly and
Mhm.
that was always like a happiness booster and like, just that just being able to perform was always such a great high to have and you know, after all that happened and everything just completely shut, it sucked for a minute, but I'm not gonna lie, like I don't want to say I'm thankful that it happened, but I'm glad that I evolved the way I did during it because it literally forced me to buckle down and try to get because my music was ass like at before COVID. I'll say like my music was kind of ass and like I didn't have a lot of music, but I was playing so many shows and I felt kind of guilty. I was like, damn, I feel like I need a better catalog to be playing
Okay.
all these shows. So like after that happened, I had to stop smoking weed too. So like kind of that helped me too.
Oh, of course.
I unlocked. I don't know what I unlocked, man, but like I just something clicked for me and I figured it out and I just sat where I'm at now and just literally produced every single day for like 6, 7 months straight and just like stacked up a crazy catalog of music. And yeah, man, it's like COVID, everyone's like, yeah, COVID messed me up, like blah blah blah. But like you gotta roll with the punches and you gotta adapt.
Definitely.
You gotta adapt to your
Definitely.
situation. And it's not about what happens to you, it's what happens for you.
Hmm.
And COVID happened for people so people could learn how to evolve during such a crazy time, especially musicians when their livelihood depends on playing shows and being out there because I feel like show money is a lot of people's main income as far as
Oh,
EDM
true.
music. Because
Yeah,
like I feel
very
like
true.
streams probably aren't crazy because most of the stuff is like released through labels and whatnot.
Hmm.
But luckily, like my income didn't really change because I had all the Kevin Flum income coming in, like just from streams. And
Yeah.
I've probably performed as Kevin Flum 3 or 4 times total my whole career. Like I personally don't like performing as like a rapper. I don't know why unless the crowd is crazy, I don't like
I
it.
get
Like
it.
it's just
No, I
how it
get
is.
it.
But yeah, dude. So the streams kind of kept me afloat for that time period. But yeah, man. I mean, it messed me up in a way, but at the same time, I look back and it's like, wow, like I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't adapt to the whole COVID situation. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Oh,
man.
I yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, and as like as detrimental as it was, just as a whole, like for an artist and somebody who like it basically narrowed down everything and kind of pigeon, or not even pigeonholed, but just focused you in on what your goal was in a way. And we've had some guests on here that have said the same thing. They're like, hey, right now is a time where you make or break. There's people that, like you said, you like their main income is off of shows and performances. So
Yep.
when they're not making any money, they start getting down. They're like, I can't do anything with this, and it's like that's not true. if you're really passionate about it, you're going to be like, okay, well, I'll take a hit right now, but I'm going to put my time in, put in time in the lab, put in time just thinking things, just putting concepts together, and then making music. And like you said, um, that's really interesting what you said too about how you felt guilty that you were constantly DJing and you didn't have anything. And yeah, you always got to look for positive, and this was the time for you to just crank out stuff. And that's what
Literally.
everyone that is passionate about the music industry is doing right now, or not even music industry, just like production, like the music.
Hmm.
And they're the ones that are going to come out on top. They're going to be the next, because they're going to be the next wave. Because I've been talking to people, and it's like all the tastemakers who inspired us, they're older. They're like
Hmm.
in they're kind of I'm not saying that they're gonna fall off, but they've reached enough people that those are the people,
Yeah.
the kids that are gonna start hitting the forefront. So for you to put in the
Oh
time and,
yeah.
and the effort right now, and all the other artists that are doing the same thing, you guys are gonna come out on top after this, and you guys are just gonna start headlining here, there. All of a sudden, you're gonna be a household name. So like
That's how I feel about it.
you
Yeah.
always got to take whatever opportunity comes in front of you and just make the best out of it. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, the underground wave is gonna be crazy once everything's back
Mhm.
to normal or close to normal. There's a lot of like kids that I never heard about that are definitely gonna be like on top of the bills at some of these festivals when they come back. Because like it's not just me. Like a lot of people took advantage of that whole situation
Oh,
and went crazy
definitely.
with it. Like yeah, man. So I'm
Yeah, and
stoked to see what happens.
it's funny too, because not only is there a lot more time to be on your phone, but it's also a lot more time to look at things, to find different things. So, like you said, all the underground movements are gaining more traction because there's more time for them to do stuff, but also more time for other people to be like, "Oh crap, I didn't even see this," or start spreading it and everything. And like TikTok is huge. I'm not saying primarily for EDM, but just for
Hmm.
like artists in general. Like if you can get a song that just is somehow trendy in any way,
Dude.
just is catches somebody, you're popping off. And it's like, and those are all like a lot of the artists that are on there are all not are fairly small artists. So it's just like, wow,
Right.
you put in the time and the effort, especially now. And TikTok is just one avenue, but just in general, your name's going to spread because you have just such a large discography, and you're passionate about what you do. So
Exactly, man. Yeah. Absolutely right. Yeah, TikTok's game changer, bro. You could be an overnight success on that.
yeah, no, that shit is so crazy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, one of my roommates actually became viral off of it. It was it was the first day we went on online classes back in March. Some girl was getting in a fight with her boyfriend, like, and the camera was off and everything, but it was the mic that was on, and the
Oh
professor's
no.
like, then the professor's like, "Hey, blah blah blah, your mic is on." Your mic is on, and then they're just like yelling back and forth. Like you could hear her and her boyfriend yelling back and forth, and I mean, hey, you never know. Like stupid stuff like that'll just pop you off. So
Yeah, man. Exactly. I feel like I saw that one. I feel like I saw that
it
TikTok.
was pretty big. I'm not gonna lie.
I was about to say,
he
I
was
feel like I saw
he
that
was yeah
TikTok.
he was pretty hyped about that. But I mean, hey, the internet's crazy, and it spreads your name. It spreads your name throughout different places. Now, do you find that you can use social media as a way to open up to your fans, or do you kind of use it as just like a journal? I mean, that's the same thing. Well, do you find it as beneficial to you, or are you viewing it more as like a negative? Because I've talked to artists who view it as both. I've talked to people who use it as like a promotional tool and as a
Mhm.
way of like connecting to their fans, because it's like, hey, I'm a person too. But I've also talked to artists who's like, the negative views, like I spend too much time, blah blah blah. So like, what's your take on social media?
I would give it like a 50-50 type thing because, like,
Hmm.
one, it's so easy to compare yourself, numbers, and because no one, everyone is only going to post their wins online.
Oh,
Like, you're never going to
definitely.
see someone post about their losses or anything.
Hmm.
So it's always like, wow, everyone's just always killing it and always winning. And
Yeah.
if you, so it's just like, it's almost like a facade. But at the same time, like artists, we need social media. It is the only way to get, um, connected with people who want to talk to us or see us or hear us and do what we want to do type thing. So,
Hmm.
social media can be good if you just manage it well. You got to spend more time just, I guess, posting and putting your stuff on there instead of scrolling and looking at what other people are doing.
Yeah.
But then like other people will see that as like you being fake and not interacting with them or like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't have social media if I didn't need to. Like if I can get to
I
the
feel
point where
that.
someone will run it for me, I think mentally it'll be way better for me. And
Oh,
some of
definitely.
my homies that are on the upper level, like of anything they do, they all have people run their stuff for them because they're like mentally it is draining and it
Oh,
distracts me from what I
100%.
need to be doing. So
100%.
yeah, man, it's a 50-50, but at the same time it's great because I've met some of the coolest people online through social
Mhm.
media, and became really good friends with them through there. So at the end of the day, it's all about moderation and how you use it. So
Oh,
it's like
100%.
anything else in life. So
Yeah,
yeah, man.
I actually agree with that. I didn't even think of it that way because like right now I'm at a point where because I deleted social media over like December and January. I didn't have it. I deactivated everything. I was just like I need to clear my head. And
It was
then I
refreshing,
realized,
huh?
oh, it was very refreshing.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing like I feel so out of touch with everybody. Like it's not even that
Yep.
it's not even that I was like I didn't want to talk to people. It's just that I was like I literally know nothing about like I can't even talk to these people because I know nothing about their life. That was the only form of inadvertent communication to them. It was like a way of me like checking in on them every so often.
Yep.
And recently I got it back, and then recently I just got off for I just took a small break. But it's like yeah, you do need it in moderation. And the other thing too that you mentioned, no one's gonna post their losses, so it doesn't make them seem or doesn't make people seem human in a way.
Exactly.
You can manipulate what you post. And that's one thing that I have to constantly keep reminding myself is like, hey, people work their ass off to get to where they are. Like this is a result. You have to remember the journey. You have to remember like the goal and everything. Like it's not just that you get to. It's not like you retire. You got to work to get to retirement, and that's one thing
Exactly.
that I've like that. The other thing too, like the whole trying to get back into social media that I've been having to constantly remind myself. It's just like, well, these people work their ass off. Don't you want that too? Okay, let's go work our ass off.
Yep.
So in a way, yeah, it can be really inspiring.
Yeah, if you can take the positive out of it, man, then you're golden. Like at the same time, especially when it's like close homies of yours you're seeing
Mhm.
posting and
Yeah,
doing well.
definitely.
It's like, well, I'm friends with them and we're close, so I need to try to get on their level type thing. So it's like, I don't know. You just never want to feel left behind. That's kind of like what I take from it.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah, and
yeah,
I
man.
like I write a little bit. I do a little bit of like creative writing and stuff on the side, and a little bit of like clothes designing. And like yeah, I like you said, like you look at you look at your boys and you're like, wow, it's inspiring. Like shout out to them, and then it like pushes you a little bit. And it kind of inspired me to reach out to them a little bit and talk to them, and be like, hey, like this is what I can do for you. You want to help? You want to work together? Like we can do this. Like I'd be totally down to help, or blah blah blah. That's what I'm doing. If you want to work with me, and just start sharing information, and yeah, you start working together and come together. And like I always say, when you're smaller, you're stronger in numbers, especially when you're starting out. That's the only way you're going to really get anywhere. So
Yeah, man. Exactly. Yeah, that's actually so true. That's actually very true.
yeah, because and then the other thing too, like that's your boy, so it's not like they're gonna get mad at you like, when they ask for your honest opinion. You're like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. You could do better here. You could like, you're not gonna be a dick and be like, no, this fucking sucks. Like, no,
Yeah.
you're gonna be cool about it. You're gonna be like, well, it's really good, but I feel like you can do better than this. Like, I've shown some stuff to my boys on social media or posted some stuff, and they've like screenshot it and been like, hey man, maybe if you did this, and it's like, all right, I understand where you're coming from a place of like of care and affection. So of course I'm gonna listen to you. But that's the other thing too. You're gonna get a lot of haters on social media. Talk it down on yourself.
Man. Yeah, that's part of the other 50 side where it sucks because at the end of the day, man, if you make something and people talk shit about it, it's gonna hurt regardless. But then you just gotta
100%.
remember you're at where you're at because of that, and there's more people that love you than hate you, honestly.
Oh,
That's not
100%.
for everybody, but for the most part, if you're a good person and you're gonna have more love than you will hate. But if you got
I
people
agree.
talking shit about you, then you're probably doing something right. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you're living rent free. Utilities paid for and everything. So
That's what I'm
you can't
saying, bro. Like
complain about
you're talking shit for free, but I'm here like doing what I want and making money off of it. So who's really winning in the end of the day?
it. Yeah,
That's how
for
I
real.
always have to look at it. But on it still sucks when people say mean shit, but that's whatever. They'll never say it to your face. So
Oh, that's true. Now speaking of like just like bullshitting and everything, as Kevin Flum, like Flum, when you were rapping and everything, were you getting a lot of shit for being a white kid rapping?
definitely, yeah, definitely a good bit. There was actually a time where I didn't really have like any music videos out, so a lot of people were really surprised that I was white because they were like, "Dude, you sound black," and I was like, I don't
I
feel like."
just sound like how I
First
sound.
of all, yeah, first of all, sounding black is completely politically incorrect,
Yeah,
but at the
for
same
real.
time, it's just like, no, I feel like it's pretty easy to tell like what race I am by what I say, and I say white boy in my songs a lot, so that's another thing that I didn't understand, but There's a lot of people that came out were like, oh, you're just a culture vulture. You're just, trying to eat off of this, blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, like I'm actually making this because I love it. Like, is Eminem a culture vulture? Like, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
for real.
Like Eminem pioneered a lot of shit for hip hop, and I don't know. I never really saw myself as getting on his level or anything, but I think if somebody enjoys to do something, they can do it without being a culture vulture. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely got my fair share of stuff, but I also got a lot of love from the Black community because a lot of my mentors growing up were Black guys, and they were all like, "Listen, man, you're gonna get shit. Like, you
Mhm.
got to win over the hood. You got to win over you got to win over the fam, and you'll be
Yeah, it makes
accepted." Like,
sense.
that's how I look at Jack Harlow, because Jack Harlow grew up with his all of his friends growing up were Black, and
Oh, I
like,
know, and he's popping
yeah,
off right now. Like, he's actually
dude,
he's got everybody just co-signing him. He's good. He's
yeah,
really fucking good
he's
too.
very good. So like, I'll use that as an example. Like, he's not a culture vulture. He does it
No.
because he likes making music and he likes rapping and he's good at it. So, it comes down back to like just haters just talking shit. Like, at the end of the day, it's all talk. So, um,
Mhm.
but yeah, definitely a lot of doubt growing up. Probably still have a hell of doubt, but um, I don't know, man. It is what it is. But there's just so many white rappers now that are killing it. Like, no one can really say anything.
Yeah, for
So,
real. Yeah, and it's
yeah,
like you're
man.
doing it out of a place of like respect and just because like you grew up like idolizing it. You're not doing it because you
Yeah,
like yeah, it's cool, but it's not like you're not doing it because it's cool. You're doing it because it's like,
yeah,
yo, I want to put my own spin on it. I
yeah.
understand what went into it and I respect everybody who's gone through it. I'm not doing it
Exactly.
to like seem cool. It's not like you said, you listen to these rappers growing up. It's not like you had all of a sudden just heard rap music and were like, oh, it's
Yeah,
successful. All right, sweet,
yeah.
let's make a rap song. Like,
That's
no,
what I'm
this is
saying.
something that you've been into. Like it makes sense that it's a product that came from you. And yeah, I've actually had conversation like recently had a conversation about cultural appropriation, and and no one ever mentioned Eminem because why it was him. It wasn't something that wasn't him. He wasn't like he wasn't from the suburbs. He was from like he lived an experience. He wanted to rap about it and tell a story. So it's like yeah, he's authentic and you're not changing who you are. You're not altering like your appearance or anything, the way you speak. It's just like another rapper who does that right now is Since 99. I don't know if you've heard him, that the guy with Immaculate and
Oh yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
Times New Roman kid.
yeah.
It's like,
Oh
yo,
wow.
he raps exactly. If anything, he exaggerates his accent to sound even more, or even less ghetto than, or even less, even less like he's trying to appropriate something. He's just,
Yeah,
it's like if
yeah. I didn't
anything,
even think about that.
he's playing more on him being different, being white, and it's like, yo, okay, that's hard. Like that's crazy. The stuff that you're saying is goofy because it sound because of the way you're rapping, but it's like, yeah, he's not bending himself to be anything. He's just appreciating and adding his own twist. So yeah, it was, yeah, well, yeah, that's you're all yeah. Of course, you're always gonna get haters, but like in the end, you know why you were doing it and you understood
Yeah,
your intention. So
yeah. It's always what you know about yourself. It's like you can't put that on anyone else. What they think about you. It's like you know why you're doing it. You know why you're there. So
mhm.
it all falls back onto that really. So yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, with that being said, I want to thank you, Kevin Flum, Drink Your Water, for coming. Actually, I actually wanted to ask you, Drink Your Water. That's a really like just kind of a meme name, just from people, just messing around, like be like, hey, don't forget to drink your water, or just
Yeah.
something as simple as it is. Is that where you got the name from, or was it something that you were just, or did it just pop in your head one day that you were just chilling and you were like, drink your water, yeah, let's go
I
with that.
So the drink your water. Growing up, I would say like in my middle school and high school days, I would always bring this ginormous bottle of water to school every day. Like just I always just I don't know why. I wouldn't say I loved water. I just knew how important it was, and like my parents were always like on the health side of things, so they were like, you got to make sure you drink this amount of water every day, blah blah blah. And I mean, I always listened. So, but I always just had so I would just always be the kid chugging water, like drinking so much water. And then like obviously I got into EDM, and like we all know how important water is in the
Yeah,
EDM game.
yeah.
Yeah, not gonna go further on that, but people
No, yeah, I
know.
don't think you have to. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
implied.
people know. So and then like I fell in love with filthy dubstep sounds, and I was like, well, man, I want to make some stuff that sounds wet. Like I want to make like wet, deep, like just watery type sounds. And I just like there's one other dude who makes music and does DJing. His name is Just Add Water.
Okay.
Shout out Justice. He's the boy. He's the man. So I was like, there's not really many people like pushing that type of like stuff in their branding. So I was like, maybe it's just a good idea to like draw the line there and finally make my project that. And so yeah, and I've always just loved, like I said, music with a low, bassy, weird, just like wet sound. So I was like, this will match perfect with my name. And you can do so many cool visuals with it. I just always had a plan like in my head visually of what I wanted everything to go. And I just ran with that name. And it's fun. It gets people talking. And like anytime someone says something about water, they think about me immediately. Like any of my friends, they're like, "Oh, drinking water's right here." It's just like shit like that. But yeah, dude, it's been fun, especially like drawing the line between Kevin Flum and then Drink Your Water. Like it all worked out exactly the way I wanted it to. So super happy that all that happened.
Yeah,
So
that's actually kind of crazy. I mean, being a little kid carrying a giant jug of water, and all of a sudden
big
you're like,
gallon jug of water, bro, for
and
no
all of a
reason.
sudden, and all of a sudden you're here producing music, and you're like, I want to make some wet ass beats. Drink
Yep,
your water. Like that's just
exactly.
it almost seems as because a lot of people and a lot of producers a lot of guests that we've had on, it's like their name just falls into place. Like it was almost destined for them to have it. I don't know. It's like just something weird. And when you mention how you used to walk around with the jug, and all of a
Yep,
sudden you're like, I want to make some wet ass like tasty beats. It's just
yep.
like holy crap! It just all just fell right onto itself. That's
Yeah.
really funny.
Finding the name for my project was not hard, like at all. So like I didn't have to really think much. I was just like, I want to do something with water, and then it's just like make one long word, drink your water, and then yeah, I don't know, man. And it reminds people to drink their water. Like every time I'm at a show, I'm like, before I like start playing, I would always be like,
Drink
there you
your
go.
water.
I'm drinking carbonated water.
Carbonated
um,
spiked water.
yeah, but yeah, before every set, I'd always be like, all right, y'all, water break. Like, get your water in now because we're about to go in. Like, it's about to be crazy. And people would just go rush and get water, like, and come back. Yeah, it was always really cool to do that. And then we would do like water breaks in between the set. I'd play like a slow song and be like, all right, y'all, drink up because we're about to turn it up. So I don't know, man. It was always really fun. And, I don't know. I just didn't want to do anything cheesy or too forced. So it's just like, I
Yeah,
just
no,
ran
I
with
get
that,
it.
man.
Hey, it was a
So,
PSA too, and honestly, it's like it's your own quirk. It's like, yo, I'm drink your water. So guess what we're about to do? We're gonna
yep,
drink some water. So go
about
drink
to
some water. I'll
hydrate.
take a break. I'll take a break. Allow you guys to settle down. But guess what? When you come back and you're
Yeah.
hydrated, we're going just as hard.
Oh, we're going in. Yeah, dude, you get it. I'm glad you get it, man. That's just
No, that's
try to
actually
keep it
really
simple.
clever. Yeah, no, it is very simple and it's really fucking clever. So like, hats off to you, man.
Thank you, my
I gotta
man.
tip my
Thank you.
cap for
Thank
that
you.
one. With that being said, we will wrap it up. I know you're a busy man. You got some beats to throw down. You got some wet beats. You gotta
All day.
conceptualize. But before I let you go, I do want to ask you one final thing. It's a two-part question.
Okay.
Um, what is one piece of advice you would tell um, beginning self that is pre hip hop, pre Kevin Flum? What is something you would want to tell like a beginning Kevin Flum, a beginning Drink Your Water? That is something that you think that they would need moving forward, like in their career.
Okay.
And if there's anybody you're listening to, working with, or that just you're fascinated with, go ahead and shout them out when you're ready.
Okay, cool. So what I would tell myself before all of this stuff went the way it did, really, just want to keep it simple, dude. Like, don't listen to everyone says this, but like, don't listen to anybody that says you can't do it. Because you can, you have the power to literally do what you want to do if the circumstances are given and are in your favor. You can do what you want to do. Don't compare yourself to anybody because no one can be you and you can't be anybody else but you. You can try, but you'll never ever be anyone else.
Mhm.
And get everything in writing and on a contract. That too, that's a big one. And just don't forget why you ever started doing it. That's another thing I would tell myself.
Yeah,
And
that's
just
beautiful.
yeah, don't ever lose sight of what's important and what you love, because that's when it doesn't become fun anymore, because I
Mhm.
always wanted to keep music fun
Oh,
and
I agree.
didn't want to get bored with it, and still not bored with it, still having so much fun. So I would just let myself know, like, hey man, like everything's going to be cool. Go with the flow, don't force anything. And always be you, because reflection of who you are is going to reflect on your work and if people want to fuck with you or not.
100%.
So yeah, man, that would be that. And then right now I'm working on some stuff with my boy Heckler. I want to shout out my boy Heckler. Got a cool song with Dion Timmer in the works. Did some Kevin Flum vocals on that.
Hey, there we go.
Got an unreleased song with Showtek. I hope that comes out. We've been sitting on it for like 2 years. It still hasn't came out yet. Showtek, let's drop that song. And honestly, man, like anyone who knows me or is close with me, like all my close friends in my circle are killing it and everyone's thriving. And I think we're all gonna be okay once stuff comes back to slightly normal. So anyone who's grinding, even you, man, people that do what you
Hey,
do, like
I appreciate
the
it.
promotion and like, you know, doing underground stuff like this and help letting people get heard. Like, you know, no one would hear this stuff about me if it wasn't for people like you. And I don't do shit
Yeah,
like
we're
this a
just
lot. So
trying to do
um
our part, you know.
yeah, man. So, you know, just shout out to anybody who's just grinding and putting on for the underground because like it's
Yeah,
just
for real.
we're all we got, man. No one else is gonna have our back. So
Exactly. Hey,
yeah, bro.
strength in numbers, you know.
Absolutely, my dude. So shout out to you guys and everything you guys are doing.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
appreciate it. All right, man. That being said, again, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. Had a great time talking to you.
Let's
Yes,
go.
sir. Don't forget to drink your water.
Let's go. Let's take a chug right now. Chug right now for the people.
All right. Chug for the people.
Yes, sir.
Here we go. There we go. Ladies and
Yes,
gentlemen,
sir.
Kevin Flum, Drink Your Water, was our guest today. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram. That is at Drink Your Water. Don't forget to listen to his music wherever music is listened to: Spotify, SoundCloud,
Everywhere.
YouTube. Kevin Flum and Drink Your Water. Don't forget to listen to both of their music catalogs. That being said, appreciate you for coming out again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow On the Rise Music on YouTube and on Instagram and SoundCloud. Don't forget to turn on notifications. Don't forget to watch our old videos. And don't forget to tune in for our next interview. Peace out, you guys.